telling one is difficult. There are too many. There are much too many actually.
I will stay 4 weeks after
it's
COVID.
wonderful.
Please play piano for me. Bonjour, 최정화의 랑데부입니다. 여러분들 맥주 하면 떠오르는 나라가 있죠? 네, 짐작하시듯이 유럽 최고의 경제대국이자 또 첨단 과학과 역사 유산이 동시에 떠오르는 나라 독일입니다. 오늘은 바로 그 독일 대사님이 함께 하십니다. 안녕하세요, 대사님. 반갑습니다.
안녕하세요, 정말.
네, 우선 본인 소개 부탁드립니다.
저는 Reiffenstuel입니다. 저는 독일대사입니다.
네, 한국말 너무 발음 좋으세요. 네. 저기 한국 사람들은 독일 하면은 독일 차라든가 독일 사람들의 근면함이라든가 또 시간을 엄수하는 거라든가 또 베토벤 같은 아주 그 대단하신 음악가들 정말 긍정적인 이미지가 많이 떠오르는데요. 독일 사람들은 우리 한국에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지 대사님 좀 알려주세요.
I think it depends a bit of the generations actually. So in former times, the older generation like me, it is of course Korean people are standing for being very professional, very enthusiastic about work, also very disciplined.
Yes.
So if you are now moving to the younger generation, I think you can see that the brand Korea, if I may call it like this, that the brand Korea is changing. It's quite strongly dominated by aspects like K-pop.
Yes.
Everybody knows in Germany K-pop. Everybody knows Blackpink. Everybody knows BTS, and it's popular. But it's not only K-pop. It's also other things. For example, Korean film. Korean film is very popular in Germany. Not only, but in particular since Parasite won the Oscar as first non-English language film. But then also you do have aspects like, of course, food. Korean food.
Yeah,
it's so popular. It's so popular in
I feel
Germany.
already hungry. Yeah.
So people really like it. And then I would say we also have some personalities from Korea who simply were quite important for the development of the German art scene. For example, if you take Paek Nam-joon, he was studying in Germany, art. And maybe the last one, just to mention, because I was a couple of months ago in Pyongyang. What is such a wonderful city, and you have there this wonderful music hall.
Yes.
Actually, this was built in memory of Chun Il-sung.
Yes.
And he, born in Pyongyang, he went to Germany, even got the German nationality, and was very inspirational for modern music. So many Koreans are famous in Germany.
그 다음에요, 대사님. 어떤 사람들은 한국에 와서 한국 사람들이 점심 때 막 모두 일제히 다 같이 한 손에는 휴대폰을 들고 보고 가면서 점심을 먹으라는 걸 보고 정말 놀랐다는데요. 대사님은 한국에 오셔갖고 가장 놀라운 게 어떤 거였는지 얘기 좀 해주세요.
Coming actually from Turkey, Istanbul, and from Europe, and being under the impression of our struggle against the COVID pandemic, if I compare, for example, the willingness, the readiness of people for mask wearing, I think it is amazing to see how disciplined people are. Also, if I compare this to Europe and also to Germany, that I think people have much more the community in mind. I have to wear a mask because first and foremost I protect the others.
Yes.
So I think there we can see, probably also because of your long period where Confucianism was important in this country, looking and caring for the community as such is actually is different. And this was something for me I did not really expect to this. But then something else, I was surprised when arriving here, because first and foremost I had in mind this bustling city of Seoul, all the modernity, people around. And actually when you travel around in the country, I think it's an amazing balance actually that you do have on the one hand side between modernity, but on the other side, if you're going to the countryside, if you visit Confucian schools, if you visit the Buddhist temples on the mountains, I think you have a lot of tradition preserved.
Yes.
What I personally think is always very important for people to have some kind of balance. We are trying this in Germany as well, between modernity, moving ahead, but still knowing your roots. Where are you coming from, actually?
그리고 대사님이 태어나셨을 즈음에 정말 많은 우리 광부들, 파독 광부들하고 간호사들이 독일에 갔었는데요. 들어본 적 있으신지 좀 궁금해서 여쭤보고 싶었어요.
Yes, of course.
Oh, you did?
Yes, of course. That they were actually very, very important at the late 60s and early 70s, because we did have. We both had a miracle. You did have your miracle and still have it, the miracle of the Han River.
Yeah, Han River, 한강의 기적.
Absolutely. And we do have something a similar saying. Actually, this was the miracle of the river Rhine.
라인강의 기적.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. So actually, we did have in Germany a shortage of labor. And then both our governments, they agreed on a recruitment agreement. And then there were coming 8,000 Korean miners to Germany.
And how many
and
nurses?
even more 10,000 Korean nurses were coming to Germany. And they were very instrumental also for our economic development. And also many family relations, as it is always with migration.
한국에 오신 지가 아주 오래되지는 아직 않으셨기 때문에 아직 가보신 데도 있고 못 가보신 데도 있을 텐데요. 가보신 데 중에서 가장 기억에 남는 데는 어디이신지, 꼭 가보고 싶은 데는 어디이신지 말씀해 주시면 좋을 것 같아요.
I want to go to all places. Yeah, absolutely, this is my intention. And maybe one of the positive side effects of COVID, because traveling abroad is so difficult, actually is that I tried to make a bit of traveling in my first 10 months here in Korea. So I have been by professional reasons in a couple of places like Busan, what is wonderful, but also, for example, in Ulsan. My very first trip actually was in Gwangju, and this was for a very clear reason, because of the 18 May movement. I also visited there the 18th May memorial and the foundation, and it's very impressive to see this. And privately, I have been a bit traveling around, so probably most impressive was during the cherry blossom, when I was going to Gyeongju. And it's fascinating. I mean, you do have the tumuli of the older Schiller dynasty. You have a fascinating National Museum with these gold masks from the 5th century. It's one of the most remarkable exhibits I have seen worldwide. You go out of the city and you have the serenity and tranquility of the Buddhist sites, monasteries on the hillside. So a fascinating place. I very much enjoyed. One place I really would love to visit, because I heard it's very unique, is actually Heinza. Because I think having once a glimpse to this Triptycha Koreana, and seeing this more than 80,000 wooden plates, where so this is a place where I would love to go. The next trip will be there.
Okay. 한국 음식이랑 독일 음식이 제가 보기에는 조금은 다른 것 같은데, 그래도 한국 음식이 입에 좀 맞으시는지 궁금하고요. 가장 좋아하는 거 하나만 예를 들어서 해주시기 바랍니다. 네.
Telling one is difficult. There are too many. There are much too many actually in Korea. But I love your stews. 찌개.
찌개 너무 좋.
Also the different varieties you have. Yeah. But all of them, even if they are very dangerous for the shirt. They are really delicious. But also your bulgogi.
찌개 and bulgogi.
Bulgogi, but also chicken and beer. It's less the beer, but your chicken. I think it's by far the best chicken I have tried. And wherever you go, it can be very small places. You simply go, and it's always delicious. Always delicious.
그 다음에 또 궁금한 거는요, 대사님. 저희가 생각하는 것처럼 독일 사람들이 그렇게 맥주를 많이 먹고 맥주를 좋아하나요?
Yes.
Oh, really?
I think so. Germans love beer, but even there, one has to say, in the last 30, 35 years, for example, the consumption of amount of beer is going down.
Oh, it's diminished.
But now, in Germany, for example, wine is getting much more popular.
White wine?
White wine, still I would say, goes, if you look for the areas where actually you can grow wine in Germany, is still bigger. I think it's approximately 2/3 white wine and 1/3 red wine. But because of the changing climate conditions, we have now many more grapes, for example, that you can use.
And then in Korea, handmade beer is very popular. Is it the case in Germany?
Yes, it's in vogue. It's very much in vogue, and many breweries are doing it. But for example, what also is in vogue, it's not only craft-made beer, but for example, also gin. We have now in Germany a lot of distilleries that are producing gin, whiskey even. Yeah, so people get more interest in different products which they can use.
그 다음에 한국 사람들은 독일에 갈 때요 주로 유명한 데 많이 가거든요. 그래서 저 같은 경우도 맨 처음에 베를린 갔고 그 다음에 뮌헨 갔고 그러는데요. 좀 이렇게 대도시들 말고 또 아니면은 대도시가 아니라도 한국 사람들한테 잘 알려지지는 않았지만 꼭 한국 사람들이 가봤으면 좋은 데 있으면 추천해 주세요.
My first recommendation would be spend at least 4 weeks in Germany.
4 weeks.
4 weeks at least. No, because sometimes I feel it's a pity that mostly only places like Berlin, Munich, maybe Dresden, some Dresden, people also know. But I think the real beauty in Germany is not that we do have some major cities or hubs, but actually if you just take the time and travel on the countryside, we have wonderful countrysides. From the mountains in the south to the seaside in the north. And in between, you find such an amazing amount of small, medium-sized villages that have a wonderful combination between keeping tradition. Very often they do have a historical, medieval city center, but then around they are very modern. Yeah, they are high-tech centers. So I think this is something what is quite unique in Germany, that actually if you try to take the time to discover,
I will stay 4 weeks after
it's wonderful.
Post-COVID project. 네. 한국하고 독일하고 그 가장 활발하게 교류가 있는 분야가 어떤 건지 하나만 소개해 주시면 좋을 것 같아요.
Now you make it very difficult for me, because to mention it would be very, very unfair to select just one field. I think the strengths actually of our relations is that they are very manifolded and broad. Everybody knows about our very good, well-established and intensive economic relations.
Yes.
But for example, in the field of science and research, it's very dynamic. Many Korean institutions, many Korean universities have cooperation projects with German institutes, with German universities. And then not to forget, of course, climate, what I think is simply a very, very important field for all of us. It's the future of our children, actually.
그다음에 또 대사님한테 여쭤보고 싶은 게 정말 대사님의 그 제가 이 인터뷰 전에 좀 조사를 했더니 대사님 그 부인께서 필리핀 대사이신 걸 제가 알았거든요. 어떻게 만나셨고 두 분이 이렇게 한국 대사 또 필리핀 대사 하시면서 그 만남은 어떻게 이어가고 있는지 굉장히 궁금하거든요. 그래서 만나신 것부터 얘기 좀 해주세요.
Actually, we learned during the education for diplomats. Yeah? In the German system, you have to make a special competition to enter the foreign ministry.
And then?
And this was only a couple of years after reunification. My wife, she was coming from the eastern part of Germany. I'm being from Bavaria, so the western part. So actually, the mentality, the psychology, This is something you have to get used because you have a different background from what you are coming. And this is something what I think helped myself a lot to try to understand of these many challenges we did have in the process of German reunification. But also the huge opportunities. Yeah? We got 3 children. They are now grown up, and we are still very happy. And perhaps to add one sentence, we have now in our German foreign ministry, we have actually 5 couples where both are ambassadors. So I think this is also showing that society in Germany, but I think also elsewhere, has to change, because in our system it's now very normal that, of course, women and men wants to make his professional career. And I think, and we are still very happy. So traveling, to answer traveling, actually the posting Manila, Seoul was
quite okay, it's not far.
Absolutely, and it was actually decided already in 2018, so a long time before COVID. And the idea was that we would see every second week and a bit extended, travel in Korea, travel in the Philippines, in the region around.
But now, because of
COVID makes this very, very
complicated.
Very, very complicated. So basically, we only see, that's why I hope COVID will end very soon.
I hope so for you.
Every 3-4 months.
대사님, 코로나 때문에 많은 사람들이 집에 있으면서 집콕하면서 어떻게 운동도 하고 또 취미 활동도 하는데요. 대사님은 어떤 취미 활동을 하시는지 또 어떤 스포츠를 좋아하시는지 궁금해요.
So I'm trying actually to keep some fitness. So I have a workout half an hour, not more, every morning. What I'm doing. I love to play table tennis. It's upstairs. Yeah? It's very good for your reactions.
That's why you are so fit. I was wondering, what's your secret to have this fitness? Okay, you are doing table tennis.
But then outside, what you still can do, despite COVID, for example, if you just move outside here of the house to the Stone Museum, there are small steps going up, and you can hike immediately in the Bukhansan area. And it's so beautiful. It's
and
tranquil.
you are walking a lot.
It's serene. I love walking. But I personally think it's always important also to keep a balance. So it's not only sports. What I'm doing, I also try to do. For example, sometimes I'm playing music. Here we have a piano.
Are you playing piano?
I'm still not very often, but
next time, please play piano for me.
I will do.
Okay, good. 대사님 가장 좋아하고 가장 기억에 남는 한국어 표현 있으면 얘기해 주세요.
Now it gets very challenging and difficult for me. So I will try. 심연이면 강상도 면한다.
와, 브라보! 와, 네. 오늘 정말 대사님하고 정말 즐겁고 유익하고 너무나 많은 거를 대사님에 대해서, 독일에 대해서, 또 한국과 독일의 관계에 대해서 배울 수 있었습니다. 오늘 너무 감사드리고요. 우리 그러면 같이 마무리하고 또 다시 만나요. 네.
감사합니다.
A bientôt.
A bientôt.